The Geoscience Research Institute is an institution from the General Conference that works on the relationship between faith and science, mostly on the origins conflict. So how we can find, with scientific methodology, with scientific research, evidences that what the Bible tells us is true about the origin of life, the origin of humans, the flood, all of these kind of things. So the Geoscience Research Institute has different branch offices in different parts of the world. We have one here in the EUD, and what we do here is a lot of different things. I work mostly in communication, so trying to get what we know about nature and the Bible together from our scientific perspective to get to everybody. To the pastors, I do a lot of classes in the different theology schools in Europe for the pastors in faith and science. I also work with the youth. I do training for youth leaders, and I do a lot of workshops as well, and materials, educational materials for young people, for children and teenagers. So a little bit of getting the knowledge on faith and science to every age and every person. This year I brought a workshop on paleontology. So we did a fossil discovery workshop. The children could learn about 10 different types of fossils. They learned a little bit about them, to classify them, and then they got the experience of looking in a little paleontology dig for some fossils. In this case were shark teeth, and they could find their own shark teeth and take it home. Today, in almost every class that they have in a school, they have evolutionary content. So in history, for example, they start talking about prehistory and the evolution of man with the same weight that they do anything else, the French Revolution or something like this historical, they took in the same way. In biology, they talk about evolution as if it's a fact, and in even many other, even in other classes like language, so they talk about the evolution of languages and things like that. So it's difficult because evolution is everywhere, and they don't get like the possibility, the alternative, or even the weaknesses of the theory of evolution. So what we try to do from the church with our educational materials from GRI, with our workshops, with things like this, is that they know that there are different points of views, that there are alternative views, and that when we're talking about origins, everything is a hypothesis because nobody was there. So we have to look for evidences that are in favor of one idea or another idea, but we don't have witnesses. And there are different worldviews. And we can find a lot of evidences about what the Bible tells us that happened. And they are not getting any of this from school, so we have to give them somewhere else. I think most of our children, they believe what the Bible says, but they have an internal conflict. So many of the knowledge, they don't know where to put it in. So they think that the Bible tells the truth, creation is true, the flood is true, but then they also get all the information about prehistory and the ice age and the caveman, and they don't know where to put all these pieces together. So they have like two different stories, and they have a conflict in their head. So we need to help them to solve this conflict. They think they believe the Bible, but it's actually difficult to put all of this in a coherent view. My advice for parents and for churches is to listen to the kids, to talk about these topics and ask them what they think, what are the doubts they have, what do they know, what do they think, because sometimes there are some ideas that are there and we don't know that they are wrong. There are some ideas about dinosaurs and some ideas about cavemen and things like that, and we haven't talked about it. So to listen to them, to talk about these topics. And if you need an expert to come and help, we have some people that can do that. We are working now in a new project that it's called the GRI Ambassadors, and we will have some experts in each of the unions that can help with specific churches or to specific projects, giving some talks or preparing some materials on this topic. So listen what the problems are, what the questions are, and try to give them the information and the security they need. My love for biology and specifically for animals comes from when I was a little child. My dad, he was a nature lover. He always took me hiking to the mountains, to the forest, and also to the zoo. I went to the zoo a lot. So I think it was like, I don't know how to say this. So I think it was something that was growing with me. At the same time that I was growing, my love for nature was growing, and I had a lot of opportunities to enjoy nature and direct contact with animals and things like that. I don't know. I think they are funny. I think giraffes are an evidence of God's sense of humor. This animal with this really long neck, these really long legs, it looks like it shouldn't be very stable, but it's very elegant. You see them running and they are beautiful. They are very pacific. They don't make any strong noises. I don't know. I look at them and they're just lovely. Some Adventist kids, some Christian kids, or some Christian families are afraid of going to study science. Biology, for example, they are going to get a lot of exposure on evolution because nowadays everything in biology is taught from the perspective of evolution. But on the other side, there's something that I always say: we need more Adventist scientists. We have lots of people working from the evolutionary side, researching from the evolutionary side. So we need people doing it from a biblical perspective. That's necessary. So if any kid has this passion for nature, and it can be biology or geology, paleontology, anthropology, I think we should support him or her, but we have to support him really, like through their studies. We need to be there for any doubts, for any conflicts. We need to give a real support so they can get out successfully and to be helpful for the church.